Hello YouTube, it is your boy B3 back with another kicking graphic novel review. We haven't done one since, well, since Grant Morrison came out. At least I don't think we have. But today we are doing one from one of my favorite comic runs, honestly. At least one of my favorite DC comic runs. Superman Batman, Volume 2. This is my favorite run of Superman Batman. I haven't read the current one, even though I really want to. But this is a really good run. I already reviewed Volume 1, which had Public Enemies in it. And also the story where Supergirl returns to the DC Universe, at least the Kara Zor-El Supergirl. Very fun stuff. So those are the two stories that come before this. They were both adapted in the movies, which is pretty awesome, because once again, this is my favorite Batman-Superman run, so I'm very glad the first two arcs in it were movies. However, if you want to read this book, you can't just watch those two movies and then read this, because there are some differences. Like, there's a bit of kind of time travel-y, scorched earth thing going on in Public Enemies, and there's some Captain Atom stuff, and there's some Captain Atom stuff that happens in here that you won't understand unless you read it and not watch it. And then there's also some stuff that happens with Darkseid that you need to know in the second story in this collection, because if you don't know that, then you won't understand what happens to Darkseid. So you do need to read the two stories before this, whether you read them as separate books or the collected version. So, I'm going to read the back of the book to you. The world's finest heroes become the world's greatest tyrants. Earth wakes up one day to a brand new world order, one in which Superman and Batman rule with an iron fist. Humankind has a choice: obey or die. How did things get this way? And is anyone left who can stop them? Before long, the world's finest duo is sent careening through a series of bizarre, alternate Earths, facing an assortment of classic DC characters, including Kamandi, Sergeant Rock, Haunted Tank, and many more. Yeah, I'm not a big Kamandi fan. Sergeant Rock's pretty cool, but I don't really know anything about Haunted Tank. This was like the first... I don't think they even name Haunted Tank in the actual book, so I still don't really have an impression of him. But Superman Batman Volume 2 collects issues 14 through 26, which is a lot for one book. An acclaimed writer, Joseph Loeb, who, like, you've definitely heard of Joseph Loeb, even if you don't know it. He did Batman the Long Halloween and Superman for All Seasons. An artist, Ed McGuinness, Deadpool and Mr. Majestic, and also Carlos Pacheco, who did Superman and also Final Crisis, takes Superman and Batman on a pulse-pounding trip through alternate realities and their own histories. It runs about $19.99 USA, which is a pretty good price, if you ask me. So it starts off with these adult versions of some Legion of superhero characters that have grown up and turned evil, going back in time, killing the Kents right before they get Superman out of the rocket, and killing Joe Chill after he kills Bruce Wayne's parents, and then they raise those two to become this Superman and Batman who would be like tyrants that would rule the world. So that they could in turn also rule the world. Like, this Superman and Batman will just kill anyone who stands against them. They kill Green Arrow, because the Green Arrow in this timeline is basically the same as the other Green Arrow. You know, very, very anti-fascism and etc. Superman just obliterates him. But there's an alternate Wonder Woman who's going around getting some heroes together, like Uncle Sam. Uncle Sam becomes a Green Lantern in this, but instead of just his own will, it's the will of every person living in the United States. So he's like a really powerful Green Lantern. And they also get, like, the human bomb and stuff and etc. And every time a superhuman pops up, Batman and Superman kill them. So they fight this Wonder Woman. The Wonder Woman kills the Batman, and the Fates have told her of the other timeline where they're all friends and stuff. And she wants to convert them if she can, but if she can't, she'll kill them. So she kills Batman, and then Superman kills her. And they kill pretty much everyone, but there's the Legion Time Sphere hidden in the place they attack, And when the human bomb explodes, it does something to the time sphere, and it's throwing Batman and Superman into alternate realities. And as they're going through these alternate realities, they're learning who they once were and getting memories back. They go to Kumandi's reality. Oh, and also Metron and a future Superman, the one from Public Enemies, are watching like all of this happen. They go to a world that's like kind of modern day, but like all the Wild West characters from DC are there, including a Jonah Hex with kryptonite bullets. They go to a world where Earth has been turned into a new apocalypse, and Darkseid and Metron and that older Superman are there, and they make a deal with Apocalypse. He's like, I need something from you. You gotta do something for me. If you do that, I'll give you a boom tomb to help you navigate your way back. And they are forced to agree with him, so they have to go and stop these future villainous legionnaires from altering their pasts. And Superman stops his successfully, but the new Batman kills Joe Chill, which creates a universe where Ra's al Ghul has completely taken over the planet, because without Batman there to stop him, Ra's al Ghul just takes over. But it turns out he was also backed by the evil Legionnaires who could tell him everyone's secret identities and when heroes would appear and etc. And like Superman's flying to different worlds where we've got Haunted Tank and, you know, all these people. And like superheroes just aren't tolerated. There was like a great purge in this world ruled by Ra's al Ghul. Pretty cool stuff. So they have to resurrect a lot of superheroes, fight some evil Legionnaires, defeat Ra's al Ghul, and they get their futures back when they go back to the Future Legion. And this is the future. This is even the future for the Legion of Superheroes, because you know all the Legion of Superheroes heroes are like teenagers at best. So they go to a future where they've all replaced the names like girl and boy with like man and woman and stuff. Excuse me. So yeah, the timelines change. The evil future Legionnaires end up not even existing, and all this stuff. And to be honest, I don't like the Legion of Superheroes. I'm not gonna lie, I'm not a Legion of Superheroes fan. When every single one of your heroes can fly, it becomes a nothing throwaway power, so like flying isn't something cool anymore. And also most Legionnaires' powers are pretty stupid. Like Matter Eater Lad and etc. Like there's a lot of just stupid Legionnaires that we still use consistently for some reason. I mean, there are a few like Lightning Lad and Chameleon Boy, Saturn Girl, Brainiac 5 that are cool, but then there's like, the team's also just so huge. It's crazy. It's crazy. So yeah, these superheroes, Batman and Superman, win. They fix the timeline, but they can remember the previous timelines, right? So Superman and Batman remember killing Green Arrow. Superman remembers choking Wonder Woman and snapping her neck with her own lasso and all this stuff, and they have to kind of deal with that emotionally at the end of it, and in the next story they're still dealing with it because that stuff doesn't just go away. So in the next story, Calculator is tracking and studying Supergirl. They're causing a bunch of disasters. I say they because he has a backer, who I thought was pretty obvious, and I think the audience will realize it's pretty obvious too. You'll have it figured out by the time Batman does. It's Lex Luthor. Lex Luthor is back, and he's doing stuff. So Supergirl's like, Batman, Superman, stop spying on me. I can do all this stuff by myself. And she does a pretty good job by herself, to be completely honest. Especially since there's like traps set for her and etc. So she really did a good job. And that was kind of just a one-shot between arcs, you know? So the next arc is basically just DC versus Marvel. And it's basically the writers just saying, DC's better than Marvel. So they have like this Avengers team from another dimension, and they're government-backed and intentionally made super soldiers, right? So we've got one that's the Wasp, we have one that's Captain America, we have one that's the Hulk, one that's Iron Man, one that's Spider-Man. There's one that's Daredevil that's mentioned but not seen, but we'll talk more about that in a sec. And they, if they can't take someone alive, they put him down. They have government authority to just put people down. There's also a Giant Man, and the death of Giant Man causes a lot of trouble. There's also some continuity inconsistencies, because Superman and Batman come through a portal into their world. They kill Skyscraper, who's this version of Giant Man. There's also one of Thor called Viking, who has an ice axe. He's super cool. So Superman's like, you killed Lois, and Superman heat visions him in the face and kills him, and Batman's like, you made the right call. And later it's revealed that these are the Tyrant Batman and Superman. And Lois was very much alive right before they changed the timeline, because we saw Superman with her, and it was like, okay, when did that happen? You know, so that's kind of a continuity thing that's really weird. And it could be just another alternate timeline, I guess, that we didn't see. I don't know. Pretty wild, pretty crazy. We also have Bizarro and Bat-Zarro running around, right? I love Bat-Zarro, by the way. He's perfect, and he's a king. And now I kind of want the Mattel figure of him. And they're like, and doing all their opposite speak and stuff, and they're like, we need to help Batman and Superman, but we're not sure with what yet. They seem to know something we don't, almost. And then our normal continuity Superman is fighting the Kryptonite Man, who is this character that's kind of made of kryptonite energy, and he can possess other characters and gain their abilities and stuff. And he possessed Captain Atom, and that's how we bring Captain Atom back to life, basically. Even though he wasn't technically dead, he was just displaced. So we get Captain Atom back, which is pretty cool, because I like Captain Atom. I think Captain Atom's dope. And then, like, Hawkeye's ghost, it's not really Hawkeye, they just call him Bowman. His ghost shows up, and he just starts convincing these Avengers to start hopping realities to kill Batman and Superman. And they go to kill the regular Batman and Superman, who are fighting Atomic Skull. Now, I usually see Atomic Skull portrayed as green. This Atomic Skull is portrayed as regular flame colors. Red, white, orange, yellow, etc. And he's riding a flaming atomic bike, and he's swinging a chain around as a weapon. And I was like, come on, guys. When there were alternate versions of Marvel characters from another dimension that the DC characters could fight, I was fine with that. But then Atomic Skull just straight up mimicking Ghost Rider in every way. And then when the not Avengers show up, they're like, this Atomic Skull looks like our Hell Rider. And I was like, Jesus, that makes it even worse. Why couldn't we have just seen Hell Rider instead or something? So they stop Atomic Skull, who was stealing the Kryptonite Man, or at least his essence, because he can't really do anything without a body. And then they fight, Batman and Superman fight these not Avengers. They're called the Maximums, but I just keep thinking Avengers when I see them. And then Bizarro and Bat-Zarro use the Justice League teleporter to use coordinates to send them to other dimensions. And they start recruiting different Bat characters and different super characters. So, like, they recruit Red Sun Superman, and they recruit Batman Beyond. Always cool to see Batman Beyond and stuff. And, like, while they're doing this, Superman's fighting a version of Spider-Man, and Batman's fighting a version of Wolverine, and their version of Iron Man is like, I don't think you guys are guilty. I think we saw something that doesn't add up, because I absorbed a bunch of your history and stuff. he's just a straight up robot. He's not a dude in a suit. He was like, I absorbed a ton of your history, and you guys would seemingly never do anything like this, and I know for a fact the Lois Lane on your Earth is alive, so I think you're innocent. But because of my programming, like, if Maxim gives me a direct order to fight you, or Soldier is his name, if he gives him, which is their Captain America, if he gives me a direct order to fight you, I have to do it. So we gotta figure this out. And etc. So they do that, and then Lex Luthor and the mysterious Bowman Ghost, who's obviously not Bowman's ghost, put this kryptonite being into Batman so that Superman will hold back while fighting him, which is pretty wild. But they do that, and there is a figure of that, actually. It's not a very good figure, but there is a figure of it. If you want the Kryptonite Batman, which I kind of do. It's pretty dope, I will admit. It's pretty cool. But they keep fighting, and then they all get, like, teleported away. All these different dimensions. Bizarro. Batman ends up on that Earth where everybody's gender swapped, which is a pretty cool Earth. With, like, Super Lad, Batwoman, Superwoman. And then Superman has to honor his deal with Darkseid, which is to remove him from the Source Wall. Because after Darkseid attacked him and Supergirl on the Kent farm, that's how he dealt with Darkseid. Like, in the other one, Supergirl teleports him to space where he just freezes. But that's not what happens when Darkseid's in space in the comics. So what they did was throw him into the Source Wall in the comic. And then we figure out who's behind all of this. Like, we know Lex Luthor, but who's the Bowman? And Lex Luthor doesn't have this kind of power. So, you guys know the game Hero Clicks? I got some for sale on eBay, down in the description below. It's a game with, it's a miniature strategy game with superheroes. Here's a Superman one, because there is a Superman Hero Click that's relevant in this comic, and you click the bases to change their stats. The game is between Mr. Mxyzptlk and the Joker, and they're playing Hero Clicks, but the Hero Clicks correspond with the real-world characters. So they're manipulating reality together. And the reason is, because I'm sure you're all familiar with the time Joker had Mr. Mxyzptlk's powers. If you're not familiar with it from the comics, you're probably familiar with it because it was loosely adapted in Batman the Brave and the Bold, where, like, he took Batmite's powers instead. But Mr. Mxyzptlk is like, Joker still has a little bit of my power left, and I need to get it back. He still has a bit of fifth-dimensional power, and I have to get it out of him. But since it's fifth-dimensional power, I can't manipulate it like I can fourth and third. So, he has to win it from Joker. And if Joker wins, Joker gets all of Mr. Mxyzptlk's power again. So Superman frees Darkseid. Darkseid throws Superman into the wall, of course. The group of superwomen rescues him, etc., etc. So they kind of make some sort of peace with the Avengers group, but it doesn't super work out. Bat-Zaro takes a fall. A big, big fall. Poor Bat-Zaro. I really do like Bat-Zaro. I really do. And Joker's using his powers to spawn all this. And what the game is, if Batman and Superman lose, Joker gets the powers. And if Mr. Mxyzptlk can make Batman and Superman win, he gets the powers. Is the whole shtick. But I liked how they were using Hero Clicks. I thought that was very fun. So, Mr. Mxyzptlk fuses Batman, Superman, and the Kryptonite Man together to make, you guessed it, Composite Superman Batman. Every time I see him now, I always think of the third Robot Chicken DC Comics special. Every time. But I believe there's also a figure of him. And so, Joker's like, I'll just fuse all these Avengers ripoffs together then. So they fuse into one big hero. And all this stuff happens, and eventually Batman and Superman win, which means Batmite is freed from inside the Joker. That's where he was hidden. And then we kind of have an issue that's Superboy and Robin instead of Batman and Superman. And this is after Superboy's, like, dead. Right? This is after he dies in Infinite Crisis. Some of this was before Infinite Crisis, and then this takes place after Infinite Crisis, right? Because Infinite Crisis was hinted at in this book before. And so a little bit of continuity was also changed in this Batman-Superman story. Because Miss Yes Spitlick can do that. So, they're mourning Connor at, like, this wake, this funeral. And they're talking about a time where Batman and Superman sent him to find the missing Toy Man because they had bigger things to deal with. And the new Toy Man is Hero. And he's kind of walking the line between hero and villain. He idolizes heroes, but he's also, like, without parents. And he's got this, like, genius-level intellect. So, like, empathy and stuff, he's not figuring them out like he should at that age. And it kind of appears that the original Toy Man has wrecked shop and kidnapped Hero. And Superboy and Robin have to fight their way through it. It was kind of a fun, lighthearted book. And then they do figure out that it was all a sham. Hero was just, like, testing them and stuff. And they were like, don't do this stuff. You can't do this stuff to people. We could have died, okay? If you get bored or lonely, you can just come hang out at Titan's Tower. And he was like, wait, you would let me just hang out at Titan's Tower? And they were like, of course we would. You're a teen. You have superhuman level intellect, etc., etc. You've helped Batman and Superman several times. Hell, you designed a Batmobile that Batman uses actively. So, wow. So he's actually seen at the memorial ceremony mourning Superboy with the rest of the Titans. Very cool. And then there's also something in the back called Sam's Story, which is about Clark Kent's boyhood friend, Sam. Yeah. So, Sam was a kid Clark knew, and he was the only kid that could really make Clark laugh and feel like he wasn't different. Clark watches Sam go through cancer. Sam's keeping it a secret from him for a while, but Clark's X-ray vision can see the cancer, and it's spread throughout most of his body. And then his friend dies, and Clark gets very, very upset. And it's, like, also just a nice little motivation for, like, Superman to do what he does, other than all his general motivations. So, that was a very fun story. I loved Sam's story. It was so good. So good. But yeah, that's really it for Superman Batman Volume 2. So, about the art in it is varied because the first story arc is drawn by one person, the second story arc is drawn by another person. You know, the Supergirl focused issue in the middle is drawn by someone else. And then, like, there's the Robin and Superboy one, which has multiple artists on it. There's a lot of work going into this one trade. There really, really is. But Superman Batman Volume 2, I have to say, is really good. Alright, I read this on my free time at work. I don't always have a big chunk of free time at work, but I can't tell you. Okay, so I have 2 jobs, and both of them have a lot of confidentiality involved. So I can't tell you why I had this big block of free time. But I did, and I used it to read most of this book, and then I just finished the last couple issues when I got home. Very good book. I did not want to put it down and have lunch. I just wanted to read it through lunch. I really like the art. A lot of people think that the kind of art that was in Public Enemies and stuff is a little gaudy. And that's also the art in the arc where they fight these Avengers ripoffs. In this book, same artist. I like that art. I think it's super fun and super comic booky, and that's why I think it's cool. Like, there's no bad art in this whole book. The writing is incredible. I think they're really, really good stories, and you can, like, feel the impact from the previous story in each story that comes after it, which is something that a lot of comic book writers just don't do. Like, a lot of comic book writers, once they've finished an arc, they just move on, and they're like, alright, that's done, move on to something new. And they don't think about how that arc impacts their character for the rest of their run. Like, and I'm not saying all comic artists do that, and pretty much any comic artist that writes an event, like, the event obviously affects them after, but some comic artists are, not artists, writers are like that. Even the writers are artists, but it's just a straight up good book. Superman Batman Volume 2 is a great collected edition. It'll cost you less than buying these two stories separately. It's fantastic. So that's it. Thank you all once again for your support. Remember to rate, comment, and subscribe. Check out all the cool links in the description below. Facebook, Twitter, etc. And I'll see you all next time. Don't know what video we're going to have next time. I've been doing a lot of MonsterVerse vlogs. I kind of want to do more comics right now, but I'm feeling very monster-oriented currently. And the thing is, I think I've already reviewed all my monster trade paperbacks. I might have some symbiote ones I can do, but I think all my monster books I've reviewed. Just off the top of my head. So, maybe I need more monster books. But that's it. Thank you all once again for your support, and I'll see you all next time.